Good evening, Super League fans around the world. Fresh off my appearance on the Half and Half Scarves podcast, we're into episode number 5 of these halftime reports. And this time we are joined by one of the most creative guys I know, one of the nicest guys I know, a big fan of CMO 102 and a legend in the Super League in his own right. We are joined by Citizen Edwards, the Btec manager. Look forward to welcoming Ian as we dissect what exactly is going wrong at his club. And good evening, Ian. How are you, pal?
I'm good, mate. Thanks. Yeah, how are you?
Yeah, very, very well. Thank you. Did you enjoy the little introduction song there? Things can only get better.
Lovely, mate. Yeah, it takes me back to the first time I was allowed to vote.
Oh, man. Good times, good times. Listen, the videos so far have been quite well received, I think. So no pressure, mate. But if this one's rubbish, it's your fault.
Yeah, well, it'll be my team's fault, won't it? Judging by what we've got to talk about. Yeah, but I suppose I'm in charge of the team, so yeah, fair enough.
Let's go back just over a week now, as we've done with all the other managers. Yeah. Last time out, you suffered a narrow 1-0 defeat away at Hoddesdon. Have you put that to the back of your mind now, or can you still reflect on it?
Well, no, it's not at the back of my mind, because it's the beauty of the Super League, isn't it? It's you play champ at home, you lose a game, you click continue a few times, and you get a chance to go and win your next game. We always have a week to stew over it, and at the moment, with Martin's well-deserved winter break, I got 2 or 3 weeks to stew over it. Which, you know, if I'd have won the game, I'm happy. A little break, but I lost, so I don't want a break. I want to get back on the horse and try and get a win. We beat them first day of the season when things were all looking a bit rosier, and it was a narrow game, but we always looked like we were going to win it. Last time out, it was a narrow game, and the same as the last 8 that we played, just felt we were going to lose it. So it's amazing how things turn, you know, and the narrowness of margins, really. And
that result, it leaves you in 13th place in the league, just 1 point ahead of the really, really shit Swindon Devils squad, and a massive 13 off the top 6. I presume you're not even looking at the top 6 at this point?
No, top 6. Somewhere probably at least halfway between the last 8 games, I would say top 6 it went. But having said that, I think top 6 has gone for a few teams. I think there's a very, very decisive dotted line at the moment on that league table, if I'm honest with you.
Something that a lot of people comment on, whether it's on Twitter, whether it's on commentary, whether it's been in these videos, is they talk about they can't understand the failings at Btec when you look at the squad on paper. When people keep mentioning that, does that add unnecessary pressure to the troopers?
No, I think the team that I got in the very original draft, or the squad I got in the very original draft, was okay. I was on holiday when the draft happened, and I was 2 or 3 days late to making a few deals. And I was dead chuffed with how the squad improved. And then at this start of this season, I improved the squad greatly again. And I think that is what brought all the pressure. The fact that I assembled, I mean, I would say a good starting 11. I mean, I know people do comment on the strikers, but, you know, Pizarro, Palermo, Constantino, I should be getting some goals out of them.
They're certainly capable, aren't they?
Well, they're certainly capable, and when I play 1 up front, 2 up front, they're always backed up by 9 or 10, what some people refer to as Galacticos. So No, the pressure doesn't come from other people talking about my team in the slightest. The pressure comes from me assembling a team that should be doing better, basically.
So you're less stormtroopers, more Avengers, you think, but you're just not quite performing like superheroes.
Crikey, something that rhymes with stormtroopers maybe, but not, not troopers, are we at the minute? Trudgers, mainly.
The interesting thing about, I'll call it a decline for want of a better word at the moment, your descent down the league, is you've actually, in most of this bad run of form you've had, you've actually played well. Like, I can understand why I'm at the bottom of the league, because in most games, we've been awful. We've only just started playing well the last 2 games, maybe 3 games. But you've actually been playing well.
Well, we've obviously lost 8 on the trot. I would say 6 of those 8, we've been statistically the better team. I'd say, 6 of those 8, we've had more shots on goal, more shots on target, winning more headers, winning more tackles, having more possession, everything, doing everything right. And strikers actually making the goalkeepers work as well. We've had a couple of serious, what I would call champions. Midlothian pretty much champed us. And it's difficult when nothing's really looking on the face of it like it's going wrong, but something definitely is going wrong. I think the temptation for me is just to tweak it rather than change it drastically. And I think get back towards, you look at my start to the season, first 6 games, we're not doing an awful lot different tactically in the last 8. We've just gone, I made the choice to go 1 up front because my strikers weren't really pulling up any trees. So I just thought, well, I've got 10 guys who are probably better than my strikers. Let's play 1 up front. And it hasn't worked. When you go back to the start of the season and I played 2 up front, even though it was 2 what you would class as underperforming strikers, I beat Bolton. I got a draw away to Vallon. Probably should have won the Vallon game, in fact. The writing was possibly on the wall when I drew it home to you, because, statistically, again, another game where we had the best of it and just couldn't put the ball in the back of the net. And that was a little sneak preview in week 2, possibly, of things to come.
It's interesting what you say there, actually, because one of the points, or 2 of the points even, that I've written down when looking at the stats that I've been provided for these videos is all your strikers have scored, okay? I think there's a 5, is it 7, 5, 3 and 1 from your 4 main strikers, which, okay, they're not massive figures, but they're decent enough figures. But
I only say, sorry, when you say who you class as the 4th striker, Adilson?
Yes.
Right, okay. Adilson hasn't ever really played up front, and I've probably only really had 3 guys up front. I did write it down, actually. 3 strikers, 23 starts between them, 9 goals between them.
Which isn't amazing, but it's not dreadful when you consider some of the other strikers down in where you are. Obviously, I think Cliver has got 4 goals. Crespo can't even get in the Sloths team. Hoddesdon, much like you, sometimes look like they could play all night and not score. Yeah. What struck me is I looked at your midfield, because as you say, you've got what are considered something of a Galacticos squad. And I'm looking at that midfield, and there are 4 midfielders that have scored 1 goal, and then no one else in midfield. So is it, knowing that your strikers perhaps aren't, although capable, they're not as likely to hit the 20 goals that certain other strikers are you actually looking more from your midfielders to be contributing more?
Not necessarily, no. I have got midfielders who I guess can score. Dyer can contribute. My assists generally seem to be coming from my wing backs. Roberto is having a decent season. Everyone knows Contra's my guy, plays every minute of every game, never gets dropped, kind of thing. So no, I expect really to dominate games, and I expect the strikers to finish things off. And if you look at, they're having shots on target, the ball's just not going to the back of the net. And people point to a lack of contributions, therefore, from Emerson and people like that. And I feel sorry for Emerson, because if my strikers could hit the back of the net, he'd be one of the top assist makers in the league. So obviously the assist figures are terrible for my midfielders, and it is just down to the strikers not scoring goals. Again, which I don't understand, because they're accurate strikers. Shots on target is fantastic. They're just not clinical.
You picked out certain players there, and the other thing that struck me, there was a couple of other managers I've spoken to where we've discussed player ratings and player form so far. Considering you are second bottom, you only have 2 players that are averaging below a 7, which for a team sitting second bottom shows how well you are playing. And it could be that you are just unlucky, because it is only Agahawa who is one of your more mainstay players, and Xavier, who has made 1 or 2 appearances, that is averaging below a 7.
Yeah, Abel Xavier, he's been lucky to get a game at all, really. He got in, we had to do a bit of a reshuffle earlier on in the season. He got a game and he had a 6. And that's his only contribution. And the way champ goes, he has a 6. We won that game. So it doesn't always, average ratings aren't the be all and end all. As you can see, everyone else is playing great, and we're still not winning. I've got Adilson, great average. I mean, a lot of people over 7.5 as well. But yeah, everyone apart from Agahawa. And I think the thing is with Agahawa, he started the season all right. And I think he suffered from slightly my mismanagement of going 1 up front, because he's played as a pair of AMCs, and it hasn't suited him playing with 2 AMCs. I think if I were to go back to 2 up front and have him on his own behind them, but unfortunately, Adilson's one of my top performers, and he's another one who's difficult to drop. So therefore, Agahawa kind of, he has to play alongside another AMC.
So looking ahead, then you've tried to pick out areas where you can improve, and I noticed it's kind of gone under the radar with the way other teams have announced their signings, but you have added Lucas Neal to the squad, I've noticed.
I have. As I mentioned when I announced him, it's a window where you can't really improve your team, your starting 11. Therefore, you look to do something for the benefit of your squad. And so he's an Aussie for a start, so he was never going to count as part of the foreign quarter. He's littered with 20s, especially on the right-hand side column.
I did notice that right-hand column.
Yeah. He can play right across midfield as well. He can play wing back either side. So I mean, if you say that my bench was going to include Cordoba and Lucas Neal, that's almost every position on the pitch covered before you even stick a striker on the bench. So I went for him for squad purposes as much as anything. I don't know how much he'll feature, but yeah, he could be useful.
Is there, because all the teams are allowed 2 external non-Super League transfers, is there another deal potentially in the pipeline, or are you calling it window shut at 1?
No, there's another one coming in purely because I have the smallest squad in the league, and I think it'll just help to have numbers through the door. I've got a guy who he's got fantastic striking stats, but he's a right winger. He's a right winger who can't cross the ball. But if he was, you could stick him up. You could stick him up front, and he could be dynamite. We'll just have to wait and see.
Any little teasers to who it might be?
I can tell you what it is if you want. It's a guy called Ronald Gomez, who plays for a very niche team. I'm sure plenty of people, maybe like Rocks or people like that, will have heard of him. But it does seem to be you take potluck as to when you load the game of what position he starts as. So he's a fan. On my current save, he's a fantastic striker. But yeah, right winger on our Super League save.
And are you, as many managers seem to be, ahead of any announcement of what the next end of season into Super League transfer window will be? Are you starting to make plans of what could happen, what might happen, look at who isn't playing and think, do you know what, they'd fit in here?
Well, it's interesting you say that about depending on decisions that get made, ruling wise and things like that, because obviously Martin has announced that he's going to make a decision on my Crespo deal when he gets back off his holiday, and if all deals that have been made are to stay, my business is already done. Because the guy that I am trading for, well, we know that the deal that I did before Rob decided to leave was Crespo for Ferdinand, and my second deal is already done to cover Ferdinand's departure. So it'll be interesting to see what Martin's ruling is on that. Hopefully common sense prevails and the deal goes through, because I think the Sloths have proved they don't need Crespo, but then they are crying out for a world-class centre-back. So whoever comes in Rob's players will be quite grateful for Rio, I would have thought.
And when I've been talking to the other managers in these videos and on the occasion where Btec comes up, there seems to be a lot of belief externally from the club that eventually it will come good. Is that kind of the feeling you've got in the camp, or is there a little more to it than that?
No, I think you have to have that feeling because of the start of the season. I mean, first 5-6 games we were top 3, top 4 and looking good. And I think there's enough over the last 8 games, last 8 defeats, to grab hold of and to say, look, we are a good side. We are having the best of most of these games. It's just not going for us. So I don't think there's too much wrong. It's just figuring out what it is that is wrong. So yeah, I think there's plenty of hope there.
And what is your hopes and expectations for the rest of the season? You've already said that top 6 is gone. Yeah. Is it to not finish bottom? Is it to get back in amongst that group that finished just outside the top 6? What are you hoping for?
No, I'm not. I wouldn't really put. I mean, I could put a number on it. I do know where I expect and hope to finish, but a position in the league isn't particularly now important to us. I think if you're trying to battle to not finish bottom, I think it's kind of a sad thing for me to resign myself to. So I'm not thinking about not finishing bottom. I am thinking about getting some sort of form, some sort of consistency, learning a few more things about my players, and finding something that I can take into next season, importantly.
No, I agree. I mean, I've been bottom now for virtually the whole season, except for the first couple of weeks. And even I'm not thinking, I've mentioned before that I don't think I will even be in the bottom 3 come the end of the season. I think that what I've changed tactically, if I allow it to sort of develop instead of keep changing it as I did the first half of the season, plus the 2 players I've brought in who I have a lot of belief in, I think I can push up the table. And yes, I've joked in the other videos about I'm going to make a run for the top 6. But that's just the kind of guy I am. I'm going to stay positive. I honestly believe that there are 3, 4, 5 worse teams this season than what I'm going to show in the second half. And I believe I will be in single-figure positions.
Right. Okay.
On that note, the same question, as you clearly don't believe a fucking word I'm saying. Up to you which way you do it, as with all the other managers. 1 to 14, 14 to 1. Who finishes where?
Okay, well, let's do it the straightforward way. We'll go 1 to 14. I have Ardsley to finish first.
Okay.
I think there's something about Ardsley. I think they've found something that works for them. I think Bolton second. Bolton.
Oh, that's a shout.
Bolton, yeah. I mean, if you look at where they are now and they've done nothing yet, You know, they're in what, fifth, and they haven't done great. They haven't played that great, but you can see an upward curve, and I think it's an upward curve that will probably continue. And I think, I think they'll get top two.
Okay.
Churchtown third, Vallon four, Midlothian five. I think Rocks probably signing of the season there.
So that's an interesting point. So last season, it was widely said that Midlothian were the best of the worst, and that's why they got sixth. If they finish fifth this year, are you putting it down to the acquisition of Rocks as assistant, not that Ian is continuing to develop?
No, I think Ian's done a good job as well, but I do think that he seemed to have a lot more success playing a certain way last year. Ian, I think bringing Rocks on board, they've been able to have a bit of success playing different ways as well. So I think there are more, with Rocks in there, I think they're a more rounded, all-round proposition.
Is that why, and we'll come back to your table in a minute, because I just find these points interesting. Is that why you think Dragons have struggled slightly? It's that we didn't know at the start who was really running the show. Was it Jamie or was it Boise the Puppet Master? Boise's clearly got bored of the situation and has kind of left Jamie to his own devices, and that is why they've kind of resorted to what they were last year, a nothing side.
Yeah, but what they were last year was the same team, the same formation week in, week out, which eventually clicked and they finished the season strongly, almost making it into the playoffs. I think this season they've tweaked things, they've changed things, obviously started with a batter in, and now they've found something later on that works for them. I think, Boise has said to me in private messages that at the moment it isn't really anything to do with him. So we do find that it is Jamie perhaps pulling the strings fully, and he seems to have found something that works. He's obviously got Brozek on fire. That formation he's got with the three AMCs behind the striker, it's took Giggs 1 or 2 weeks to get used to that position, but now he seems to be on fire as well. So, I think they've found something there, but it's got a different feel to it from last year for Dragons. Okay,
so back to where we were, and apologies for interrupting. So you've got Midlothian in fifth, so I'm going to presume the next words out of your mouth is Palmaphenikos.
Well, as I mentioned, I think we've got quite a decisive dotted line in that league, so I'm taking the six that are currently there as being the six who will end up there. Yeah. I think Alf will narrowly miss out. I think he might have just left it too late to put something together. He's made a couple of good. Well, I know he's made one good signing in this window. He's got Guilherme coming in, hasn't he? And I think
the Brazilian lad's quality.
Not someone I've had an awful lot on the game, to be honest. But whenever you see him go, he's always got great goals for appearances. So
well. As you know, obviously it was quite infamous how I didn't have the game for so long. And because when I got it back and as I started playing it again, one thing I did do as we approached a transfer window was I thought I need to rebuild my knowledge somewhat to somewhere near the level of all these other guys. So what I did was I started a new save, which I had no intention of playing as such. But I opened up the Brazilian league, the USA league, like the Japanese league, to see what sort of players do I never normally look at. And he was one when I was looking at the Brazil squad, and I thought, you know what? There's a lot of quality in that player.
And there's a lot of similar guys. I mean, I picked up Adilson. I mean, if you're talking about forward centres or strikers, there's a lot of those Brazilians of a similar ilk, and you could probably, if you include Franca in that, you include Luizão in that, you could probably pick one of about a dozen who could possibly all do roughly the same job. They are, some of them are older than others as well, but no, I think he could suit. I think he could suit Al. But I do think he'll slightly miss out. I think Hull's a little too inconsistent to get top 6, so I give them 8th. And after Ryan on his show called me out at 9th, I can't put myself any lower than 9th, because if others think I can get 9th, it'd be remiss of me to not believe that I could do that. So we go Btec 9th, we go Dragons 10, we go Chudley 11, Hodds 12, Sloths 13, and
absolute bullshit. This is a wind up from everyone. Everyone's putting me last, and I'm not having it. I'm telling you now, for anyone watching, anybody watching this, right? I will not finish last this season. I will not finish 13th this season. I plan on definitely being well inside the top 10.
I don't doubt that you're capable, mate. As well, your upturning form is impressive. You actually look at least more than in every game that you play and capable of winning those games. And we play, don't we, in 2 weeks? Well, 2 fixtures time is me and you. So I need to show something in my next game to take into your game, and I think that'll be key for you.
Well, I've got 2 crucial games. If I remember this correctly, I play Hoddesdon next, and then you. Mm. And if I can claim 6 points, I'm not sure 4's going to be enough. I need to be looking at 6 points, and then we'll start to see, all these little teams slowly sinking behind Swindon, and then everyone's going to be thinking, what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah, because you've got some momentum there, and what as much as anything, what you need over the next couple of games is to keep that momentum. And I think if you can take that into playing some of the bigger teams than with all due respect to me and Craig, then yeah, I think you've got every chance. But
listen, this isn't about me. This is about you.
I had to put someone 14th, and and yeah, sorry, mate. Yeah.
No, listen, I really appreciate you taking time out of your what day are we on? Do you know what? I don't even know where we are. Tuesday evening for talking to me. Absolute legend on the pitch, off the pitch, on Twitter, in the DMs. Whether you're being the Btec manager, whether you're Citizen Edwards, the stuff you've done for the league and beyond is incredible. Can't thank you enough. I look forward to kicking your ass this season and you finishing below me now for putting me bottom as well. See you in a couple of weeks. Am I at home this time? I can't remember where we played.
Yeah, we'll be playing at your gaff next time out. Yeah, so I mean, you got a point at our spot, second game of the season. So yeah.
That's right, because the first game I beat Sloths playing none up front, and everyone accused me of shithousery. So I think I went 3 up front against you when everyone was fit again, and snuck a draw when you were the better side.
Yes, yeah. But as I say, that was mainly a sign of things to come from me, just not being able to put the ball in the net and finish teams off. So,
but no, I really appreciate you taking your time out to talk to me about the Super League. Coming up for the fans, I've had a very brief message from CMAC at Panathinaikos. He's up for it. I'm still hoping to get a hold of Jamie or Kieran, someone like that, to get them on as well. I appreciate it's harder for the likes of Andreas and Tiago with the time difference, but you never know. And I also think I've got an idea of how I'm going to do mine, so there'll be something from me soon as well. But no, thank you, Ian. Good luck for the rest of the season. And
cheers, mate. Thanks for doing all this sort of stuff for us as well, and you do a cracking job for us all, mate. So that's really appreciated.
Mate, it's no trouble whatsoever. I literally sit here in a t-shirt that doesn't fit me properly, generally some shorts, and talk shit to much more entertaining guys for half an hour. Nice. But no, thank you very much. Good night, Super League fans, and we will see you again soon.
Good night.